On a typical Saturday morning in northern Texas, 13-year-old Caleb Morgan rolled his bike out of the garage. The air still held a hint of coolness, the kind of morning that felt almost magical for a kid with no plans, no rush, and just enough freedom to roam. The streets where calm birds chirped, a lawnmower hummed faintly in the distance, and sprinklers lazily sprayed freshly cut lawns. Inside, his parents were busy with breakfast, half listening to the local news. Caleb shouted, "I'm heading to Tyler's," more a formality than a question, and pedaled off before anyone could reply. Tyler Brooks was Caleb's best friend. They'd met in 6th grade and quickly became inseparable, bonded by video games, dumb jokes, and an unspoken rule: if it's Saturday and you're free, you hang out, no excuses. Tyler lived in Oak Ridge Estates, a gated community that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Grand stone entrances, matching mailboxes, and streets with names like Pine Hollow and Maple Grove. Caleb's own neighborhood was older, simpler, not run down, just average. But Tyler didn't care, nor did his parents. Caleb had visited dozens of times, and it always felt comfortable, familiar. He wore a worn-out t-shirt, gym shorts, and sandals that were a size too small, the straps digging into his heels. He grabbed a green Gatorade from the fridge and hopped on his creaky bike, its chain clicking every few pedals. The ride to Tyler's was about 5 miles long, enough to feel like an adventure, short enough that no one worried. With one earbud in and the breeze on his face, he rode through quiet streets, sunlight glinting off parked cars. A cat dashed across a driveway. A kid's basketball thumped in a backyard. It was one of those ordinary moments that glow in memory: a boy, a bike, and a stretch of freedom. But peaceful moments can hide sharp twists. By noon, Caleb wasn't laughing with Tyler or splashing in the pool. Instead, he was walking alone, barefoot, miles from help, his feet raw, legs trembling, heart pounding with confusion and hurt. All because a few adults in crisp polos decided he didn't belong. It started just past Oak Ridge Estate's fancy gates. Caleb spotted a white golf cart parked near the entrance, 3 adults standing beside it, eyeing him. He didn't think much of it. Gated places had their quirks, HOA busybodies acting important. But then the cart zipped up behind him and cut him off. "Stop right there," a sharp voice barked. He braked, startled, the bike wobbling. 3 adults, 2 men, and a woman stepped out, all in matching polos with little badges. One held a clipboard like it was a shield. "You're not a registered guest," said the tallest, a man with slicked back hair and sunglasses. "Who let you in?" the woman demanded. Caleb blinked, glancing around the empty street. "I'm visiting my friend, Tyler Brooks, on Cedar Lane," he said, his voice quiet but steady. "Not the question," snapped the third, a stocky, red-faced guy. "Who let you in?" "I just rode in," Caleb replied, feeling oddly guilty. "The gate was open." "So you trespassed," the tall man said, scribbling on his clipboard. "Do your parents know you're here?" the woman asked, eyes narrowing. "Yeah, I told them," Caleb said. "I've been here before." "Where's your ID?" the red-faced man cut in. "My what?" "Identification, driver's license, student card, anything." "I'm 13, Caleb said, baffled. "Exactly," the woman replied, and without warning, she grabbed his bike. "We're holding this." "What are you doing?" Caleb asked, standing but frozen. "You're not authorized to be here," the tall man said flatly. "Your bike's a liability. Your parents can claim it if they read the rules." Caleb tried to speak, but his words didn't land. His phone was dead, and they weren't even looking at him anymore, just talking among themselves, deciding his fate. Then the woman turned. "You need to leave now." Caleb glanced at his feet. His sandals had snapped earlier, so he'd taken them off, planning to walk the short distance to Tyler's barefoot. But now they wanted him out of the whole community. "I live, like, 10 miles away," he stammered. "Not our concern," she said, wheeling his bike to the cart. "You're not a resident, not a guest, not our problem." They climbed back into the cart, chatting like they'd just finished a chore, and drove off. Caleb stood alone on a perfect street lined with SUVs and manicured flower beds, hands shaking, unsure if he was angry or scared. Then he turned and started walking. The sun climbed higher, the pavement scorching his bare feet. He'd walked 11 miles by the end alone, in the brutal Texas heat. At first, he thought they'd come back, admit it was a mistake. But the cart disappeared, so he kept going. Inside Oak Ridge, the roads were pristine, eerily quiet. Caleb, sweaty and barefoot, looked out of place. By the gates, his feet stung. Beyond, the real road stretched on hot, shoulderless blacktop with gravel and glass along the edge. Blisters formed, then burst. At a gas station 2 miles out, he lingered by the soda machines for the AC, avoiding the clerk's stare. He had no money, no phone, no story that made sense. So he left and kept walking. By mile 5, his feet bled, every step a battle. The heat pressed into him, his VY shone blurring from exhaustion. No one stupid, no one cared about a dirty, barefoot kid on the roadside. At mile 10, pain faded to numbness. He just moved forward, driven by instinct. Finally, his street appeared, the familiar mailbox, the sticky gate, the unmowed lawn. His legs buckled in the driveway, and he collapsed with a quiet grunt. His mom, Sarah, burst out first, screaming as she dropped beside him. His feet were cracked and bloody, his lips split. His dad, Daniel, stood frozen in the doorway, rage and helplessness warring in his eyes. "I couldn't call," Caleb whispered. "They took my bike." Then he cried soft, broken sobs as Sarah held him, murmuring, "You're home. You're safe." But Daniel Morgan wasn't done. Somewhere, 3 adults in polos sipped iced drinks, smug in their VY Tory. He'd had enough. Daniel didn't shout when he saw Caleb's state. He carried him inside, cleaned his wounds, sat silently as Sarah brought water and ice. Caleb's story trickled out the gate, the cart, the bike. Daniel listened, jaw tight. That night, Tyler's mom sent ring footage. Caleb surrounded, dismissed, humiliated. Daniel watched it twice, then called the HOA. A polished voice answered, followed by a man. "Mr. Morgan, we're aware of the incident. Safety is our priority. Non-resident minors must be registered. Your son VY OLAT policy. No apology, no concern, just rules." Daniel said, "I see," and hung up. In the dark, with the VY Deo glowing, he planned. The HOA didn't know Daniel wasn't just a furious dad. He was a land surveyor, an expert in boundary law, and he'd inherited something they'd overlooked. Decades ago, his grandfather owned land where Oak Ridge now stood, including a narrow strip, the entrance road still legally his. 2 years back, he'd found the deed while settling an estate. It was a public easement, sure, but he owned it. And now he had a reason to use it. Monday at 9:02 a.m., Daniel called his lawyer, laying out the facts. His son detained, humiliated, forced to walk 11 miles. By Tuesday, an injunction barred HOA access to his road. Wednesday, signs went up. Private property. No trespassing. The fallout was swift. Landscapers couldn't enter. Trash piled up. Delivery stopped. Residents fumed. The press pounced. Teen walks 11 miles barefoot after HOA overreach, family owns road. Social media exploded. They messed with the wrong dad. By week's end, the HOA caved. A letter apologized, offered Caleb guest status. Daniel demanded a meeting instead. In a quiet office, he handed over terms. 72-hour access requests, no questioning minors without cause, road ownership in their bylaws. They signed. They had no choice. Caleb's bike appeared by the garage one morning, but Daniel had already bought him a sleek new one. The story spread Reddit, TikTok praising Daniel's calm, legal checkmate. Inside Oak Ridge, the 3 board members were quietly ousted. A new sign stood at the entrance, private road. Morgan family property. The golf cart vanished. Caleb rides to Tyler's now, head high, on a bike that humps. The road hasn't changed, but its lesson has. Power isn't a polo shirt, it's a deed, a father's silence, and a line no one crosses twice.